Hello, boys and girls. So we're back for another edition with How to Remove Toxic People from Your Life with Zach. So I'm not going to give you a psychological analysis because obviously I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but I am going to give you a law of attraction breakdown as to why there are toxic people in your life, and 2 processes on how to remove them from your life. So, the 2 reasons why you have toxic people in your life to begin with, reason number 1, they're simply matching your vibrational signal, and they've shown up in your life. You've attracted them. Now, what does that mean? That means that our thoughts have a vibrational frequency. And in response to our thoughts, as we discussed last week and the week before and the week before and all the videos before that, our emotional response is an indication of how aligned we are with our source. And so when we are thinking thoughts, when we are feeling negative, if you will, we'll just say negative because that's easy to understand. If we're feeling in a lower vibration, we're going to attract into our lives people of a lower vibrational frequency. That's why in any of the law of attraction videos, movies, whatever, they always say the rich get rich and the poor get poor, and the happier stay happier and the sad get sadder. And it's just a vibrational frequency that we're emitting and receiving. So when it comes to individuals, if I am in a state of joy and I'm thinking thoughts that just make me feel joyful, I'm appreciating nature, I'm having a great time with my lover, or I'm enjoying my children, or I'm just out, doing whatever, and I'm having a great time, very likely, because it's law, you're going to get people that match that vibrational frequency. Now, when you're with in a different vibrational frequency, when you're feeling ornery, when you're feeling fearful, angry, sad, resentful, blameful, you're going to match people that have that same vibrational signature. So a toxic person, somebody that's always trying to wear you down, bring you down, is simply matching some vibrational frequency that you had in the beginning, and now that you're continuing to perpetuate. And so that person is staying up in your life. That person is staying there, whether that be someone you live with, whether that be somebody you interact with at a daily job, whatever. You're holding a vibrational frequency that keeps that person in alignment with you. So that's reason number 1, and that's the predominant reason that people are in our lives, is because we've actually called them forward from our vibrational frequency. Now, reason number 2 is they're actually here to teach you some sort of life lesson that is going to give rise to more of your conscious expansion. Now, this one I feel like is really hard. I think both these ideas are harder for people to really grasp, but that one's harder if you're not as deeply spiritual. And so, obviously, you're watching this video, so you're probably pretty darn spiritual, which means that the people in your life that are frustrating you are likely here to teach you a lesson. And that lesson can come in many forms. It can come in the form of, learning patience. Obviously, everyone always says that. Oh, what are they trying to teach me? What are my children trying to teach me? Patience. It could also teach you compassion. So somebody who's being really, really just a horrible coworker, will say, and is just always, mean and rude, and that person could actually be one of your soulmates that is actually here to teach you how to be more compassionate towards people that you really don't like. That's actually kind of a common occurrence, is that the people that we dislike the most, especially when I do my quantum healing hypnosis therapy sessions, the people that have the most trouble with a lot of these individuals are actually their soulmates, and they're here because they're here to play a part. And that part is, if you will, the Captain Hook to your Neverland. And so I guess we could use that not that analogy, but we could go broader scale and look at, like right now, Donald Trump could be, for the majority of us, a lesson to to find compassion for individuals that are not like us, that think differently, that think they're above us somehow, or just seem disconnected from their source, from their inner being. But they could teach you a lot of things. They could teach you how to love deeper, how to be friendlier, how to laugh more. They could be the contrast, simply the contrast, to give rise to your deeper desire. So those are the two reasons, really. You're either matching them vibrationally, which is the most common cause, let's say 95%, or 5% of the time, they're here to teach you a life lesson. And those go in tandem too, right? If I am recognizing that my vibrational frequency is askew, and I'm thinking the wrong thoughts, and I'm saying the wrong words, not the wrong words, but I'm saying discordant thoughts, I'm having discordant thoughts, I'm using hurtful words, that's a lesson for me to go the opposite direction. So those are the two reasons. Now, I'm going to give you just two processes that I really like, that are really effective to help ease that toxic relationship. Sometimes it just kicks them, straight out of your life. They just disappear one day. Sometimes it takes a little time. But the first one, and actually there's only really one reason, one way to remove toxic people from your life. And it's said really well in The Secret. And Esther Hicks Abraham says, you must orient yourself to the qualities that you like most in others. So going back to that first reason why they're showing up, we have to orient ourselves vibrationally to the people in our lives. And so when you have somebody that's constantly being negative, when you have somebody that's constantly being hurtful, the first process, and this is a tough one, it takes a little time to go from 0 to 100, but I like to call it the what I like game. And so verbally, out loud, all you're going to do is going to say what you like about said person. So you could say, it could start from, I like that they have a face. You could be so, on the vibrational scale, you could be so low in your like for them. You're so high on your dislike for them that it'll be really difficult. But you could say, well, sometimes I like it when they wash their dishes. Okay, great, there's a start. But you got to start from just one point. If you can't even start and you have such a vibrational set point around a specific person, you'll have to get really general, as Abraham says, meaning you are going to have to just find something else to really get happy about, get joyful about, and then come back to the topic. So you would get into the alignment where I love my body, or I love my doggy, or I love my home, or I love this, or I like this. You're doing this verbally, mind you. You're doing this verbally, whether you're whispering it or whether you're doing it out loud. You're doing this verbally. So you're saying, I like the sky. I like the trees. I like how the trees look. I like the color of the trees. I like when the birds fly. I like my brand new Canon camcorder camera. I like that I can speak. I like that I can see. I like that I can hear. I like that I can breathe normally. I like that I have a healthy body. And you're going on this rampage of appreciation, right? So that's the rampage of appreciation that Abraham Hicks always talks about. It's the I like game. Once you get into a vibrational place where you're feeling really good and you're feeling really alive, you're feeling really enthusiastic, passionate, loving, kind, then you come back to that person. And just out loud, you say, I like that Nancy she does her work correctly. I like that Nancy, yada, yada, yada. I like that Nancy can be funny at times. I like that Nancy seems to enjoy her job. I like that Nancy has smiled at me a few times. I like that Nancy, blah, blah. And right, this is not going to happen overnight because you've probably had a long period of time where you've really disliked this person. But you're going to play that game and hopefully you can play it every day until you start to feel that you actually do like that person. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's not a question if this is going to change your interaction with the individual. It's just a question as to when it's going to change. You are, without question, going to change your entire dynamic with that person. Truthfully, either they are going to become a completely different person to you, or they're going to completely be eradicated from your life. And that's said in The Secret, and when I first watched The Secret 13 years ago, I thought to myself, well, that sounds great. And every time I've used this, it has dramatically, I've done it even, in my own relationship. And I'll just say, I like when Shauna does this, and I like when Shauna blah, 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 blah. And I like when Shauna, and when I say that, I say it out loud to myself. I can see it, right? As I'm saying this, I'm visualizing it. And literally the next day, Shauna will be that. So when I start complaining about Shauna, or when I start complaining about this or that, family members, clients, whatever I'm complaining about, friends, being in my little ornery mode. Is it ornery or is it ornery? I like saying ornery, but ornery is what it's pronounced, or it looks like ornery. Anyways, settle that debate down in the comments. Yeah, so when I'm feeling that way, I notice that it really starts showing up in my experience. Like I'll start having some tumultuous relationships. So it's just about playing that what I like game. And now the second process, we're done with that process, the what I like game. The second process is actually pretty easy, and it's a simple acknowledgement of what lessons the people in your life are teaching you. So this requires a lot of self-exploration. It requires either you meditate, it requires you go into silence in the evening, in the morning, wherever sometime you can get silence, and closing your eyes and exploring what you feel that this person is trying to show you or teach you that is going to enhance your life. So it's never, well, she's being a bitch and Nancy's being a bitch and she's just being a pain in the ass and I'm just not going to change her. You're not trying to change anyone. You're trying to change your experience with somebody. So that's important. You're never trying to change the person. You are trying to change your personal experience with the person. That's important to remember. And by doing that, you can acknowledge, okay, well, I feel like she's testing my patience. Okay, patience could be one of it. She's also showing me that I'm not being very kind and I am being a shit talker, or I am being whatever. I am being judgy. I am being put your adjective, as a verb, put your verb on the dotted line. So once you acknowledge that, again, this is what has to happen. You acknowledge what you feel, truly feel that the lesson is, and you verbally out loud say to your angels, your guides, your source, your inner being. You say, inner being, source, angels, whatever, guides, I understand that Nancy's coming to my life to teach me compassion and non-judgment. I appreciate the lesson, and now I am moving forward. That's a very powerful statement out loud, but here's the caveat. If you don't really learn the lesson and you're not actually, you're saying you are, but you're not actually taking it in, it's not going to change. So my favorite thing to do with how to remove toxic people from my life is I use both of these processes. So I actually first will start with what the person is teaching me, I feel like. And I'll verbally say that out loud. Oh, there Caesar goes. He's going to go bark. And then I start to reorient myself around the best of their features or their characteristics. That's what I do personally, and it works for me every single time. No questions asked. So if you've tried other things and it worked for you, tell us all about them in the comments. I'd like to hear them. For me, that personally works 100% of the time, without a doubt. Caesar's going crazy in the backyard, fence fighting. And lastly, so I love the book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, by Jon Kabat-Zinn. And that's what it comes down to with toxic people, with any relationships in your life. Ultimately, these relationships are in your life for a reason, whether you attracted them vibrationally because you are being a specific way and life is mirroring back to you, or they're here to teach you something from a deeper spiritual vantage point that you actually agreed to come together to learn said lesson, and this person is now showing up for you. Most of the time it's the vibrational thing. So if you're seeing a lot of people in your life that are really positive, really happy, really uplifting, it's because that's who you are. That's how you're living. If you're seeing the opposite, you'll know that that's who you are right now. That's how you're living. And so it's just a reminder to change the internal chatter, the internal rhetoric in your own mind. And it's a reminder to practice meditation. So go sit for 20 minutes and meditate. It's the best thing you could do to start to recognize that internal chatter, and to observe it, and then to let it go. So yeah, if you guys had cool experiences before, I'd love to hear what you had said. Give me a shout out in the comments. I keep saying that, but yeah, I'd like to hear your experiences and like maybe something that's changed in your life, or if you've, after watching this video, maybe you try this out and you see the immediate shift in your relationships. I'd love to hear about it. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys for always watching, and like it and share it if you did like it, and if you think someone will benefit from it. So I'll talk to you next time. I love you guys. Thank you very much. Talk to you next time. Bye.